This man was first arrested for kidnapping her girlfriend. Later on, he was taken to court and he was charged with murder, assault, fraud, and also trying to defeat the ends of justice. The name of this man is Sandile. He was previously married to 2 wives. However, he had broken up with them due to some marital differences, and he had 3 children from these 2 marriages. And now he was looking for love when he met a lady by the name KARABO Mokoena. These 2 met at a mall in South Africa. Sandile had gone there to do some shopping, and KARABO was in that mall having fun with her friends. Immediately Sandile saw KARABO. Sandile went ahead and approached her, and he introduced himself as a CEO of a forex company known as the $1 Trillion Legacy. And during my time, you'll find me in church. I like praying. I'm a very religious person, and I'm looking for a beautiful lady just like you to settle down with once and for all. KARABO then blushed, and she introduced herself as, I am KARABO Mokoena and I'm a graduate, and at the moment I fight for girls who cannot speak for themselves, girls who are abused in their relationship. And in the future, I would like to open an NGO to help these ladies who cannot speak for themselves. Because it was getting late, KARABO and Sandile exchanged numbers and they went separate ways. KARABO was a 21-year-old lady, and her curfew, or she was supposed to get home by 6 p.m. So they continued chatting over the phone, and KARABO told her friends that she had met her soulmate. And a week later, KARABO packed all her clothes and she moved in with Sandile in his luxurious apartment in South Africa. The first 2 weeks after moving in together, Sandile used to shower KARABO Mokoena with gifts, love messages, and more. Even at one point, they went to a ritualist who tied them together with blood, and he told the couple that they should not separate if they want to succeed in life. And a few weeks later, Sandile's company started improving and started getting more and more clients. However, it will not take long before Sandile revealed his true colors. At one point, they had an argument and Sandile hit KARABO so bad, and from the beating, KARABO got a bump on the forehead, and she sent this picture to her friend. And her friend advised KARABO to leave this relationship. However, KARABO decided to be patient with the relationship. It might get better in the near future. She also remembered they were told by the ritualist that they should not separate if they wanted to be successful. So KARABO decided to be patient in this particular relationship. With KARABO's patience in that relationship, things did not improve and the relationship continued being murky. And at one point, KARABO and Sandile were at their apartment, and Sandile asked KARABO to give him her phone, and KARABO refused. Then Sandile told KARABO, if I count 1 up to 4 and you fail to give me that phone, then you will know my true colors. Then Sandile counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and he grabbed the phone from KARABO and he smashed the phone on the wall, and it broke and it stopped working. Then he went and started beating KARABO Mokoena, and shortly after, KARABO Mokoena had a red eye and he was bruised all over her body. Then Sandile told KARABO that they should go to the hospital together, and they got out of the apartment into Sandile's car, and Sandile took KARABO to the hospital. And when they reached the hospital entrance, Sandile gave KARABO a medical card and told KARABO to get inside and get treatment. Then Sandile left and KARABO went inside without her phone, and there was no way to communicate. Sandile, after leaving KARABO in the hospital, he went straight to the police station and he reported that his girlfriend had actually assaulted him. He said his girlfriend beat him so badly, and the girlfriend also damaged his car. Then he left the police station and he went back home. On the other hand, KARABO in the hospital got treatment for some few days and she was offline. Her mother tried contacting her, but it was all in vain. Her friends tried also contacting her to ask her about her birthday plans because it was her birthday week. However, it was all in vain. Few days later, Sandile bought KARABO a phone and took it to the hospital. Then KARABO contacted her mother and her friends, and she told her mother and her friends that she was offline because Sandile had actually beaten her so badly and she had a red eye and bruises. Immediately, her mother told KARABO to leave the relationship, and also the friends advised KARABO if she wanted to get out alive, she should leave the relationship immediately. KARABO then recovered from the hospital and she went back to Sandile's apartment. And one day while Sandile was at work, KARABO packed all her things and called her friend to help her move out. And the friend came and they moved out. And KARABO went back to her mother's place. KARABO, while at her parents' place, her mother advised her to go and report whatever Sandile had done to her. And KARABO went to the police station and she reported. However, she was so shocked when she found out that Sandile had also reported that KARABO had actually assaulted him. And the police did not know who to believe, KARABO or Sandile. The police did not investigate that matter further and they let it slip just under the carpet and the file was closed. Few days after reporting to the police station, KARABO decided to stalk Sandile on Instagram, and KARABO was saddened after seeing a picture of Sandile and another girl. And in this picture, the girl was holding a perfume and some flowers. So after seeing this on Instagram, KARABO decided to continue with her life as a single, young, beautiful lady. So one day she planned and she went to a club to enjoy some good South African music and some good mature wine. So while at the club, she was dancing, to some nice songs here and there. Then she spotted Sandile in the same club. Sandile also spotted KARABO. And KARABO immediately took her phone out and she texted her mom. And she told her mom, Sandile is in the same club with me. And her mother told KARABO to leave the club immediately and she should not talk to Sandile for even a minute. Immediately after KARABO finished texting her mother, she saw Sandile next to her, just dancing, shaking his waist and shoulders. And Sandile smiled to KARABO and they started talking immediately. However, it will not take long. An argument erupted and they started fighting in the club. Then they were separated and shortly after they sat together. Then they continued talking and time went. Then they left the club. KARABO, KARABO's sister and KARABO's friends. Then the friends were dropped at their place. KARABO's sister was also dropped at her mother's place. And Sandile and KARABO went to Sandile's apartment and they spent that night together. It was on 27th April 2019. A CCTV footage captured Sandile and KARABO in the apartment. On the other hand, Karabo's mother was worried why she had not turned up at home after meeting Sandile at the club, and she took her phone and called Karabo. And Karabo told her mother that she was not in a good place that they can converse. And she told her mother that she was going to call her later. Then the mother was satisfied and she put the phone down and waited for Karabo to call her. On the other side, at Sandile's apartment, around 10 p.m. on 28th April 2019, Sandile was seen getting out of the apartment, and shortly after, he came back with a push dustbin, and he got with that push dustbin into his house. Few minutes later, he came back out with the dustbin. However, this time, the push dustbin was a bit heavy to push, and he got into the lift and he went down to the parking. Then he came back again with the same push dustbin. However, this time it was a bit lighter. He left this dustbin at the top floor. He then took the lift and went down to the parking lot, and he drove away to her mother's place, and at her mother's place he picked up some acid. He went straight to the petrol station and bought some petrol with a tire. After that, he went to a field that was a bit dark, and he went back to the boot, opened it, and took a very heavy load and threw it outside. Then he took the acid, poured it on this heavy load which he had taken out of his boot. He poured the petrol. Then he took a matchstick and burnt the heavy load which he took out of his boot. He then watched it for some time and left it to burn. Then he got into his car and he drove away. Sandile then reached his apartment. He got into the house and he went straight to sleep. Few days passed and Karabo's mother waited for Karabo's call. However, it was not coming. So the mother decided to call Karabo, and she was surprised when Karabo's phone was off. He contacted Karabo's friends, and the friends told the mother that they don't know where Karabo was. 2 or 3 days passed and the mother got concerned, and she decided to go report a missing person in the police station. And an investigation began immediately to look for Karabo. Karabo's father then decided to contact Sandile and asked if he had seen Karabo. And Sandile's response was yes, he had actually seen Karabo with a Nigerian man, and he also believes that Karabo had traveled to Nigeria with this particular man. Then he hung up the phone. Then Sandile joined the search team, and Sandile posted on his social media pages that Karabo was missing, and anybody with information about Karabo should contact him, and he left his numbers. The police, on the other hand, decided to go to Sandile's place because it is the last known location that Karabo visited before she went missing. When they reached Sandile's apartment, they did not find him. So they called Sandile, and Sandile told the police that he was a bit busy, and the earliest time which he can reach his apartment was about 9 p.m. And the police were patient and they waited for him until 9 p.m. While at Sandile's apartment, one of the cleaners gave the police Karabo's passport and some other documents that were found in the dustbins. The police also asked for a CCTV footage from the building management, and they were given, and they saw Karabo and Sandile getting out of the lift at about 2 a.m. in the morning on the 28th April 2019. However, they did not see Karabo getting out of the building afterwards. The person they saw was Sandile getting an empty push bin into his house, and later on, Sandile was seen coming out with a very heavy push bin. Then he got into the lift with this push bin and went to the parking, and later on, Sandile was seen driving off at 10 p.m. on the same day, 28th April 2019. And Sandile came at 9:30, and the police asked if they can get into Sandile's apartment, and Sandile had no issue, and they went together. The police, Karabo's mom, Karabo's friends, they went into Sandile's apartment, and in the apartment they noticed that the carpet was a bit wet, and Karabo's friend went into the kitchen and she noticed a carpet with a blood stain. And Sandile was asked why the carpet had some stain and why it was wet. And Sandile told Karabo's friend and the police that he had washed the carpet because he was planning to move. The police, on looking closer, they noticed some blood stains on the wall and on the windows. Then Karabo's mom asked Sandile, "Did you kill my daughter?" And Sandile told Karabo's mom, "I did not kill your daughter." And immediately the police arrested Sandile for kidnap, and he was taken to the police station where he was interrogated. Then the police started by asking Sandile what the documents of Karabo were doing in the dustbin, including her passport, and Sandile had no answer. He was then asked about the heavy load he was carrying in the push dustbin with an overlapping bedsheet, and still Sandile did not have an immediate answer. However, after few hours, Sandile came clean and he decided to confess to one of the police who was his friend, and he told this friend police that he had actually killed Karabo because they had a blood tie. They were not supposed to break up. This is because if they broke up, Sandile's company was likely to go down and he was likely to lose all his properties. As the confession was ongoing, Karabo's mom was called in, and when she heard that her daughter had been killed, she screamed so loudly with so much pain, and she got out of the interrogation room. The police later asked Sandile to take them where he had thrown Karabo's body, and Sandile guided them to that place. However, when they reached this place, they did not find Karabo's body. This is because Karabo's body had been seen by a passerby, and the passerby reported to another police station, and the police officer from this other police station came and picked up Karabo's body and took the body to the morgue. The following day, after the confession, Sandile was taken to court, and in court, he denied of confessing to the investigators, and he said that he had actually left his house, and when he came back, he found somebody had murdered Karabo. So he decided to dispose of the body because people are not going to believe that he did not murder Karabo. However, the judge was not convinced with Sandile's explanation about disposing of the body, and the CCTV footage actually laid bare everything. And Sandile was found guilty of assault, murder, and trying to defeat the ends of justice. And he was sentenced to 32 years in prison. Sandile was also found guilty of fraud using his $1 trillion legacy company, and he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. On the other hand, Karabo, who was 22 years old, was buried in South Africa. May the soul of Karabo rest in peace. Karabo, the woman, was trying to fight for other girls and women who were in abusive relationship, also found herself in an abusive relationship that she could not get out of. Kindly don't go without subscribing. Hit that subscribe button, share, comment. What do you think about the story? Until next time, subscribe.